Hello and welcome to my Floss Tube Champagne and Stitches. My name is Sarah and this is Floss Tube number 7. So, welcome back. It's been a few weeks since I recorded. I think my last video went up about 3 weeks ago, but we recorded it a few days before. So I've got almost 4 weeks worth of stitching to share with you today. Today is May the 4th. It's not Star Wars Day as many people think. It's actually my mum's birthday. So happy birthday to my mum. Hope she's having a lovely time. So today to share with you, I have a finish, I have a new start. I've been working on 6 whips and a tiny bit of haul and then some plans at the end. So let's start with my finish. So this is my Santa's house. This is from Cottage Garden Samplings, and it's the first one in the Fabulous House series that came out last year. And my aim is to stitch 4 of these this year, so this is the first one. And I've stitched it on a coffee craft fabric with all the called for DMCs and a couple of classic colourworks in it. And I think the last time you saw it, I had put in 1 reindeer and had worked my way sort of up to here. So I just had to finish the last few little bits, pop in the last reindeer. And I really love how that looks. And I finished this yesterday, I think, just in time because I want to start the second one, the castle, in May. So this one is finished just in time for that. And 28 count even weave. So I've been buying the Fabulous House series patterns from Coffee Craft Fabrics with a piece of fabric dyed, cut to size for me. So makes it quite easy. So I'm ready to go with the next one. So that is my finish, Santa's house from Cottage Garden Samplings. And then my new start, which was actually one of the Whip Go calls for last month, so April, is this one. This one is the final ornament that was in the advent calendar from the Historical Sampler Company in 2023. So I've stitched 2 of them. This is the 3rd one, the Christmas tree, and the Whip Go call I had was to stitch on something for Christmas. So I thought I'd do this one as it's very, very quick. So this is as far as I've got. As you can see, I have outlined the size of the piece, so pop that there, and I've got the tree in. So I think this needle minder came from the Historical Sampler Company, I think as part of the Christmas stitch along in 2023, but don't quote me on that because I might be wrong about that. So this one I'm now currently stitching in my car before work because I figure that I will be able to finish this one quite quickly, and then I can go back to my peacock pincushion, which I haven't worked on at all since you last saw me. So this is my new start, and it is the Christmas tree by the Historical Sampler Company, and hopefully this one will be a finish very, very soon. I'm stitching it on all the provided materials, so they come as part of the advent calendar. You get the pattern and the DMCs and the fabric. So that is my start. And then my whips that I've been working on. So my first one, which I'm keeping in this beautiful project bag from Evertote, which I showed you before. So this is my Lola Crow Stitch Along Extraordinary Bird. So the frame came out beginning of April, I think, April the 4th, something like that. And we have 6 weeks to stitch the frame, and then the first release of the weekly releases, I think is about the 16th of May. Again, don't quote me, not sure. So I really wanted to finish the frame with a good amount of time so that I can just catch up on a few other things. And that's exactly what I've done. So here we go. This is the completed frame. Almost completed. I realised after I had taken it out of the frame and out of the hoop, sorry, and ironed it, that actually I haven't done the back stitching. So there's a little bit of back stitching on the owl and a little bit of back stitching on this. I can't remember what this is called. I want to say it's a death parrot, but a vampire parrot, something like that. So really enjoyed stitching this. This was, I think, 6,200 stitches. Really pleased to have it all in, apart from just my little counting stitches there, which I keep until I've sort of finished so I can check that I'm adding the different bits in at the right points. My needle minders on these, just bring them in. These are from Cotton and Clay. And I do like it that when you sort of watch everybody's Lola Crow stitch alongs, you always see lots and lots of Cotton and Clay needle minders. I had a Cotton and Clay one for the Deadly Aquarium last year, and then these two for this one. So check out Cotton and Clay UK. They do some lovely needle minders actually. So this is my completed, almost, apart from the back stitching, frame for the Lola Crow stitch along. So I've got, I think, about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks. Last Friday is the first release, so a little bit of time just to do some other stitching, which is good because, as I've said before, once these start dropping, they are chunky stitches, so they will take up quite a lot of my time. So that was my first whip. My next whip is my year at Hawk Run Hollow, so doing the April block with this massive house, and every time I stitch it I say to you that I want to try and finish it slightly earlier in the month than I have been doing. I'm keeping this one in my gorgeous project bag from Penelope's Pocket with Highland cows on, love it. And so this is my April block. So as you can see, I've got that done. That took me until the last day of April. Really down to the wire this time. There it is so far with all 4 months in. And I enjoyed actually stitching this one a bit more. I've said before that I've been finding some of them a bit tricky, just because counting is apparently not my strong point, and getting the right colours is also not my strong point. So I got this one done, and the only obvious mistake that I can think of is that one of my rabbits, not sure, maybe this one, I wasn't paying any attention. I was filling in the green. I had the rabbit there filling in the green, and I gave it a green eye. So it did look a little bit scary for a while, but I corrected that. There are various counting mistakes in it. I am not that bothered by that anymore because it makes it uniquely mine. So mine will be different from everyone else's. So obviously I've got the May block to do. I would show you what that looks like, but the pattern's just fallen on the floor, so I'm going to leave that there. It's flowers, and although I think it's probably less stitching maybe than the April block, it is still a really big block to stitch, so hopefully I will get going on that sort of this weekend, next weekend, get as much of that done as possible and get it stitched by the end of May. The reason I'm trying to keep up with this one is I really want this one finished by the end of the year. Started it on January the 1st, and I'd like to just take the year to stitch it. And I know that if I don't stay up to date with it, you know how easy it is to fall behind. So I'm trying to make myself finish them monthly. But that is my Hawk Run Hollow. It's looking good, I think, despite all the mistakes in it. So that was my second whip. My third one is being kept in this purple bag, which came in the Black Needle Society Purple Madness box, which is apt because it is Pomegranate Plum by Carolyn Manning. So I think when I last showed you I'd completed this one. I had hoped to complete many more than actually just the two, although this one isn't finished yet, but I couldn't find one of the thread colours. I have it somewhere, but I just couldn't find it, so I had to order a new one. And what I realised I've done with this is this is the way the pattern is orientated. When I first started stitching this block, I had my fabric this way, and I thought I was being really clever because I had the bit that I hadn't overlocked at the top. And then for some reason, when I started stitching the second block, I turned it this way. So all of these stitches go the wrong way. But do you know what? I'm not going to change it. It was much too far gone by the time I realised what I had done. So I'm going to keep stitching it this way so that the outside blocks all have the same orientation for the stitches, and then this one will just be different. However, saying that, I realised today when I was stitching this one, because I was doing it this morning, that I somehow managed to turn it round again. So who knows which direction the stitches are going in, but we are going with it. Again, uniquely mine, so I shall just leave it as it is. So that is Pomegranate Plum by Carolyn Manning, and hopefully my very clever technical whiz who produces my videos. He did a very fancy thing last time round where he superimposed the pattern over the top of my stitching. So who knows, maybe he will have shown you that again so you can see what it looks like. But believe me, that's not me doing those clever things. It's entirely down to him. So that is Pomegranate Plum. My next whip is actually one of my, put that on the floor, is one of my whip go calls for May. So in fact, my next two whips are my whip go calls for May. So one of them was Halloween. So I have chosen this one, which I haven't stitched on this year yet. So it's nice to have this one out. This is Leave Me Alone, I'm cross stitching. This was part of her Patreon last year. So I loved it. Lots of people were stitching it. So I joined her Patreon so I could get this pattern. And it's all being kept in this little project bag with various little Halloweeny things, and actually the floss drops for this as well. So the project bag and the bits with it and the floss drops are all from Kate Blandford, who I buy quite a lot of my stuff from. So you can find her on Etsy. So this is as far as I've got. And I decided as part of my whip go, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch on this for half of the month. And I'm going to do 100 stitches a day for a reason that will become clear in a minute. So I think so far, excuse the thread, I've been stitching on it this morning. So I think the first time I picked it up, I just had to finish a little bit there. Let's put it down. Just had to finish a little bit here. And then this morning I started to fill in here. So that was 100 stitches, filling that in. And this needle minder, which I think is just one of my absolute favourites because this is my cat, came from, I think it's UK Needle Minders thehistorical.co.uk, and the fabric is a 28 count even weave from Coffee Craft Fabrics. So hopefully this will get some good progress. So, you know, 1,500 stitches by the end of the month. And that one goes with my other Whip Go call, which was 400 stitches a day on something. So I chose T-Rex from Silver Creek Samplers. Love this pattern for reasons that will become clear a little bit later. Keeping it in this project bag from 7.5 Sewing. And this is as far as I've got. So again, forgive the hoop and the hanging thread, but because I'm working on this one and the Witchy Stitcher pattern every other day, I just left them as they were when I finished stitching. So because I'm doing this one for 100 stitches a day, I decided I would do the Leave Me Alone one for 100 stitches a day and then alternate them. So this one gets stitched on odd days, the Witchy Stitcher gets stitched on even days. So again, this one will also have 1,500 stitches, hopefully by the end of the month. So the 2 days that I've stitched so far, I've finished off the top of the E there, and yesterday I put in the cup and some of the steam. And again, because you know me, counting, there is one line of stitches that should be under that cup, which I didn't realise I hadn't stitched. So again, not quite following the pattern, but this one will just be my stitch, uniquely mine. So that is T-Rex by Silver Creek Samplers. And that is the end of my whips. I don't know if that was 6. In my head there was only 5, but that's what I've done anyway. So I am going to move on to haul. So I have a little collection here. So my first piece of haul is another bag. So this is another one from Penelope's Pocket on YouTube and also on Instagram. And this is it Saju fabric, something about like that, which I learnt about while I was watching her Floss Tube, and I just love this. This is beautiful. So, and I think I said with the other bag I got, you get such lovely packaging with it. So with this one I also got the words struggling, the floss ring holder ring thing, which goes with it. So that's picked out some of that, and then you get it's always beautifully wrapped up. This one came with a little cockerel charm there, and what was really interesting is I was watching her latest video and she was talking about when she's received things in the post, and part of why she set up Penelope's Pocket, and how important it is to her that when you receive things in the post, you know, that you have that they're presented really nicely. And I have to say that the presentation you get when you receive things from Penelope's Pocket is top notch. I mean, it's one of my favourites. So, and I also have this little Saju thread winder as well in the bag. So that is my favourite bit of haul for this video. So that's that one. And then also I've had, since I last spoke to you, I actually did receive the Downton, Stitching at Downton box from the Black Needle Society about 2 days before the retreat happened. But also I was down in Devon, so I didn't join in any of the retreat at all. So I've picked just a couple of my favourite things from that box, and I also received the Rainy Day sub box from the Black Needle Society, so that's part of their bi-monthly boxes. So from the Downton box, I have picked out the pattern, haven't started it yet, so I am a custodian. And the way that this retreat works is that this is the first part of the pattern, and then actually there will be more parts to it which will go around the outside of it in future years. So that pattern's lovely, but I also rather like this. So this came little recipe folder, and it's got some really lovely little recipes in it there. So kedgeree, Daisy's cheese soufflés, roast chicken, servant hall beef stew, Madeline. So there's lots of things, raspberry meringue, lots of things to have a go at cooking in there. So I actually really like that. So the boxes are partly stitching related. So there was thread, there was a project bag, the pattern, and then you also get some lifestyle things. So for this one, I particularly like this little recipe cards. And the other thing I liked in it is that you've got some tea, and this is Lord Grantham's Custom Blend. Now I think, I haven't got my glasses on, this is an Earl Grey blend, I think, which is not my cup of tea, unfortunately, but I do like the idea about getting tea. So that was also part of the things I just picked up from that box. And then from the rainy day box, the things I chose to share with you, rainy day stitching, was the floss we got was hand dyed by Rolanda. This one called Rainfall. So really, really pretty. Some really, sorry, there's hair on the table. Really, really pretty colours in there. So I shall have to find a stitch that only requires one colour to stitch with that one. So I chose that one. More tea. So as you can see, T-Rex pattern definitely speaks my name. I do like tea. This is After the Rain tea blend, and it sounds delicious. It's got, and again, this is without my glasses on, so who knows, green tea, black tea, there's lemongrass, spearmint, and lots of like citrusy flavours in this one, so looking forward to trying that. And I think my most favourite thing in the whole of the box was this little tea strainer. So obviously you put your tea in there. There is a little bung in the bottom which has just turned the wrong way round. But there it is. So that's a little bung at the bottom there. Pop your tea in, pop that on, pop it over your cup with your boiling water, and there you go, cup of tea. So they were just the few things I chose from the rainy day box to share with you. And then I think the next box is due at the end of the month, and I think it's Stitching Together, so looking forward to getting that. So that's the haul that I had. So moving on to just want to talk about plans, and also I've got a shout out. So part of my plans involve a new start, and it's for a birthday stitch along for Stitching with Charlie, who is on Floss Tube. I've really enjoyed watching her videos. She's another UK stitcher, quite recently started doing floss tubes. In fact, very recently started stitching. I don't think she started stitching until January this year, which is amazing when you see what she's doing, because she changes lots of things. So she will stitch fractional stitches even when they're not on the patterns. She'll change colours, she'll change parts of patterns to suit her, what she wants from them. So really enjoyed watching her videos. So check her out, please, if you haven't already. And her birthday's at the end of May, so she's having a birthday month stitch along. So you can start at any point in May, and she wants to stitch on something that is sort of inspired by nature. So she's asked people to join in with her. So I was thinking about what I had. I don't want to buy any new patterns and things because I've got plenty that I need to be getting on with. So I was having a think, and the most obvious is obviously the Artsy Housewife, A Study in Nature, which I had the fabric for, and I got the Roxy Floss conversion for that one. So everything apart from the pattern. So this morning I downloaded the PDF version of the pattern. It's something I've wanted to stitch. Obviously I talked about it a couple of videos ago, and I haven't started it yet, so it seemed the perfect time to start. I also, obviously, the May block of Hawk Run Hollow, my Whip Go stitches, so finish the Christmas stitch, get my 100 stitches a day on the Halloween stitch and the Witchy Stitcher one. And I think, oh, obviously Extraordinary Birds is going to start its weekly drops in mid-May, so I'll have those to do as well. And I do believe that that is it. Hopefully I might start Fabulous House, second one, The Castle. That's probably enough to keep me going, I think. I mean, I don't have 38 hours in every day, so hopefully I've got plenty to keep me going and a bit more. So I hope you've enjoyed my video today. If you like what you've seen, please consider leaving me a comment or subscribing, you know, click on the like button, do all the things, and I will be back in a couple of weeks. Thank you for watching. Bye.